From singing in jazz bands and clubs at the age of 15, Nhoza has travelled extensively around the continent for the last 10 years as the frontwoman for her own band, Black Southeaster. With her wide vocal range beautifully developed into a rich sound, she has shared the stage with the creme de la creme of the South African blues artists like Richard Pryor and Guy Collins, just to name a few. Now, 2019 sees this Noladi spreading her wings as a solo artist and sharing her love of music with the world. Here's a little snippet of what you can expect from Nhoza. Wow, that was absolutely gorgeous. Come and have a seat. I love that. Welcome to the show. And for the first time in my life, I'm officially leggy. Have a seat.
I feel so bad.
No, you are gorgeous. And you even started the show with such a beautiful intro going, Genie Jella. What does it mean? What does the song mean?
Jigijela literally means throw.
Ah, okay.
Jigijela.
Yeah, I can it. So welcome to the show. Lovely to finally have you here. So tell me a little bit about your life. You grew up and you were raised in King Williamstown.
Just outside of King Williamstown, Debenek, in a village called Knox Village, Etlukwane.
Okay.
It's way far out from civilization, but it's a beautiful village with valleys and waterfalls.
And what was your upbringing like?
I was a very musical child because my mom sings, and all my life was just surrounded by women that had beautiful, what do they call them?
Voices?
Pipes, voices. But they sang like crazy. My mom and my aunt had a woman choir at home, and then she also had a choir at church. And I just stood next to her and I said, I want to sing like her, I want to sing like her.
Wow.
Not knowing that this gift gets passed on. Because literally all of us can sing in the family.
That is so beautiful.
So we started doing those little family classes. We used to call them back then.
Little acapellas, the whole family.
Acapella all the way, and it was beautiful. It was just, my sisters would harmonize with me. My mom would start the song, and we started from there. And it was just a very musical. I was terrible at sports, at any sports. I was terrible.
Me too.
So my best way was just music.
Whenever there was a sports day at school, my mom would say to me, come, Jeannie, let's go to a movie.
I got kicked out a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
I got kicked out a couple of times.
Oh, no, terrible. But I love how you called yourself Unolala. Unolali. So I was actually telling our social media team that one day, because yesterday we were doing a story about having kids, and I was like, well, that's it. One day if I have a kid, I want it to be a little girl, and I want to call her Unolali.
Unolali.
What a beautiful name.
Village girl.
So it means village girl. So
it could be a village child, a village girl. But mainly a village girl.
Name. So when did you leave the village, and what prompted that?
I left the village in 2002.
Yeah.
My mom had my last sister here in Cape Town, and she wanted to also work here. And I lived with my aunt, but my heart was always with my mom because I knew she was my strength. And I never actually gave her a choice I said to her, tomorrow I want to be in Cape Town.
Beautiful.
And my parents made it happen, and I came here. I spent a whole week trying to discover this city because it was my first time in a big city. I was like, what is going on? Where am I? This place has trains and this. And I've heard of a train. Close to my village, there used to be what we called igoots at the time. It was the coal trains, and they used to make a lot of noise. But I heard it from a distance all the time. We were so scared to cross the railway. We didn't want to be near it.
Dangerous.
And when I came here, people were using it for transportation, and I said, I want to be on a train. I got here, and all I heard was, there's a concert there, this girl sings there. And that, for me, it was a huge discovery. I almost felt like this is what I was born to do.
So how quickly did it take you then to find your feet with finding a band and finding, you know, instrumentalists who would work with you?
This is one of the craziest stories that I get to tell all the time. I'm a curious child. I started hanging around at places where they had concerts. There used to be centers around Langa, because when we moved, we were staying in Langa Township. And there used to be a center called Lwazi Center, which is said now that it got vandalized and it doesn't function anymore. And I went there. There used to be a group there called Kopano. Every alphabet in that name meant something. It meant keeping our youth active and naturally organized. There was poets, dancers, you name it there. And I got in there. There used to be a friend of mine that used to accompany me to go to the place, and she passed away. And she said, you have a voice, you have a voice. You need to show them that you have this voice. And we started doing concerts every Sundays. And my mom used to think it was just a bunch of teenagers trying to get naughty. And it started from there. Then another friend of mine introduced me to a band in Guguletu, which then I started discovering live music. And at 15, you don't know what a guitar sounds like. You're just coming from the village. All you know is a cappella. And that's when I fell in love with jazz and Afrofusion and blues. But also, I loved listening to blues. I listened to Etta James since back then because my uncle played that music. And we got introduced like that to live music.
You know, I'm just thinking, like, I'm picturing you like this young 15-year-old girl just discovering life, but to live a world where you are curious, where you're always investigating, that's how you grow. It's the only way to do it. But I mean, how incredible. You weren't even allowed to be in half of these clubs
I
while you were
was
singing.
not. My mom totally hated it. But my mentor at the time was a lady called Titi from Guguletu. And she had to come to my house every time we're going to have a performance, and she will kindly ask my parents, and she will tell them what time she will bring me back. And she had to knock at the door when we come back at night. And the first thing my mom would ask, has she done her homework? I used to do my homeworks backstage. I used to literally do my homeworks backstage before we get on stage, interval, back on the books and finish my homework. And my mom would check my books. And Titi made sure, and she promised my mom that I would be doing my homeworks, and she will make sure that I study. And
you're so fortunate that you were looked after, that you could feel safe. Because it's such a difference. But I suppose in that environment of the jazz singers and musicians, I think there must be so much respect, and that's why you were looked after so well.
And I hanged around a lot with much more mature people. There were over, a lot of them were over 40. Between 35 over 40, and they had children themselves. So they treated me like one of their children. So which is why I got the foundation of actually respecting music as well, because they all went through a lot to get where they are. I say every day that I appreciate the fact that I was surrounded by such powerful women in my life. It took me to where I am today.
There's so much to be said for jazz, because like I love all kinds of music, and I've never quite clicked onto jazz until I started working on this TV show. And we've interviewed legends like Oliver Ntukutsi and incredible jazz musicians. And the way jazz musicians are able to put into words how they feel about their chosen genre is just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Really, it's such a pleasure.
I think when I started following jazz a lot, I listened to Mama Miriam Makeba, I listened to Mama Leta Mbuli and all of them. But mostly I used to watch Nina Simone's interviews. and how she was so passionate about
What a lady,
jazz,
eh?
and also her confidence of being true to herself, so that the world can see the best of her. She never sugarcoated anything. She was so open to the world, but also you take that experience, because she did not have it all at first. We all never had it all at first, but her courage to push through and travel the world doing what she loved was what actually pushed me to be able to express myself in this music.
Oh, you are so beautiful. It's such a joy to have you in the loft today. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to having you in the kitchen with us and singing for us some more. After the break, we head over to the kitchen for our vibrant main recipe prepared by Chef Mo, and connect with us on our social media platforms and tell us which nursery rhyme Nhoza should remix live in the loft.
It's gonna be
Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page.